Diamond B Sports presents the American Sports Cavalcade. A panorama of speed, color, drama, and excitement. The American Sports Cavalcade.
This is Gainesville Raceway in Gainesville, Florida, home of the NHRA Motorcraft Gatornationals and site of some of the great moments in top fuel dragster racing.
This is Joe Amato in 1984. Not only did he win the Gatornationals championship in top fuel, but had a great moment in his career along the way. This was a semifinal race against Gary Ormsby. At that time in 1984, many men had knocked on 260 miles an hour, but nobody had broken through that barrier. On a beautiful afternoon in Florida, it was Ormsby up in smoke and Amato slashing through the timing lights at 260 miles an hour, the first man ever to do so. It was a momentum he created there that carried him on to victory in the Gatornationals and the World Championship.
In 1985, it was veteran Dick LaHaye's turn to take the Gatornationals championship. This was the final round where LaHaye faced off with Joe Amato, Joe's second consecutive final round berth. Could an unpainted, unsponsored car driven by a 45-year-old man from Michigan beat the highly touted world champion? Could he do it? Yes, he could. Dick LaHaye wins the 85 Gators and has only helped his daughter Kim, the crew chief, on that automobile. For Dick LaHaye, it was his biggest ever drag racing payday and a triumph he'll never forget.
And now, this year, the greatest name in the sport, Don Garlits from just down the road in Ocala, comes to the Gatornationals with a revolutionary automobile. An automobile with audacious streamlining that may very well be the harbinger of a whole new breakthrough in top fuel.
Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Evans. Since the very beginning of top fuel dragster racing, the emphasis has always been right here on the motor. Bigger and bigger engines, larger superchargers, more complex and refined fuel systems to ram even more of that nitromethane in. Bottom line, power. Well, as that power becomes increasingly difficult to find, some drivers are exploring new ground. This is Don Garlits' Swamp Rat 30, debuting here at Gainesville this weekend. Now, Don has added this very sleek Lexan canopy to the car to hopefully cheat the win. Rat under glass, if you will. But the big news, as far as aerodynamics are concerned, is possibly up here at the front of the car. Now, this is the most unusual front-end configuration that we have ever seen. Certainly the narrowest track, and also tiny, tiny front wheels, only 13 inches. Everybody else's are about 22. Specially built front wheels that don't even have tires on them, just kind of an industrial-style V-belt. Now, this whole front body piece is carbon fiber and only weighs 4 pounds. And Don says that its shape will punch a hole in the wind that he's going to drive right through, not just at 270, but 280 miles per hour. Now, Don didn't read any books or consult any engineers or wind tunnels. This is common sense and swamp science. Well, another driver took a different approach. Brock Yates is with that car.
Well, Steve, as you well know, guys have been trying streamlining almost from the origins of the sport of drag racing. It hadn't worked too well. In fact, your pal Don Garlits used it in 1972 and scared himself a lot, simply because the cars tended to fly. Well, over the years, we've learned a great deal about aerodynamics in race cars, especially in Formula One and Indianapolis-type racing. And that is exactly where Gary Ormsby went when he designed this beautiful new body for his top fuel dragster that he brought to the Winter Nationals in Pomona. Now, you'll remember that they had some problems there. A body flex at Pomona in qualifying caused the magneto to break up, and he had a giant blower fire. But since then, it's been cured. The race car now is back here and in full trim with a full Kevlar body. In fact, it's such an Indianapolis-type car that this windshield actually comes from a March Indy car, the actual windshield. But the important part about the body is this lip down here that causes a whole lot of downforce to work on the edges of the automobile. It has a full belly pan, has wings up front, all sorts of sophisticated aerodynamics. But I think the important part about this particular race car is that Gary tells me that it's only the beginning. He has yet another brand new automobile ready to go with an even more sophisticated aerodynamic setup. So you've just started to see the really super streamliners come into top fuel.
in round one of Top Fuel Racing earlier today. It was that very streamliner of Gary Ormsby in the far lane. In the near lane, the 30-year drag racing veteran Connie Coletta from Ypsilanti, Michigan. 3,000 horsepower engines apiece. Coletta won 2 races last year. Operates a very successful flying service out of his home base in Ypsilanti. Gary Ormsby is a car dealer in Roseville, California, and a longtime drag racing veteran as well, with a couple of national event victories to his credit. Even Coletta fans were watching Gary Ormsby, the bizarre-looking machine in the far lane, but Ormsby was down on power. It just kind of weaved its way down the course, and Connie Coletta went on to round number 2 at 5.50 seconds. Ormsby will have to wait till another day for that 270-mile-an-hour run.
Well, Gary, you didn't win it, but I guess that's the price you pay for being a pioneer in a lot of ways. I suppose that you have to be pleased in a sense that she ran as well as she did.
Well, I got down the track, Brock, and that's been a little more than we did at Pomona, you know, and we've been working with it. This is actually the first race we've had to work with it, and it's so we're a little disappointed we're out the first round, but...
Sure. We are too, but we know that it's the shape of things to come, and we'll count on seeing you at the next show with a more successful round, I'm sure.
Well, thank you, Brock.
Okay. We're sorry, Al.
Well, Brock, I've heard you say what looks right is right, and that car just looks fast. Its day will come. Here also in first round was the unique little short car of Diamond Dave Miller from Itasca, Illinois. About 4 feet shorter in wheelbase than any other car, but we saw last year it can fly, but he was up against Big Daddy. Don Garlits, 4-time winner here at the Gatornationals, but his last win goes way back to 1978. I don't have to tell you, this partisan Florida crowd was pulling for Big Daddy.
A couple of unique vehicles, but all eyes were on the Garlits car, blasting off the line, looking as if it was running without front tires. He won easily, 544, 264 miles an hour. But it was a victory that came not without major penalties. Steve had a look.
Well, in qualifying last weekend, Don Garlits had some problems with the front tires, if you can even call it a tire, and it appears that there's a problem again, as the rubber that he had applied over that V-belt has apparently come apart and done some damage to the front end. It'll be interesting to see if they can repair this and run in the second round. This could be a problem that could conceivably put him out of the race. We'll follow this story.
More Top Fuel action. The first lady of drag racing, Shirley Muldowney, still on the comeback trail from her 1984 crash, backs into the line against her first round duel against the former professional football star, Dan Pastorini.
This is no Playboy effort by Dan Pastorini. Takes his drag racing very seriously. Watch this. In qualifying, Pastorini in the near lane, kaboom! Blower explosion. Actually took a cylinder head off of the motor. Pastorini did a tremendous job of keeping the car under control, but a lot of people said he won't be back. This is a bucks down, unsponsored effort. Somewhere, Pastorini found the parts to put the car back together and found himself racing Shirley in round 1. Another look at a horrific blower explosion, one of the worst ever. Shirley Muldowney, what can you say? The only 3-time Top Fuel world champion, a movie of her life a few years ago. She's back after that terrible accident. And in the far lane, in qualifying, she too let one go. Supercharger explosion. Not nearly as spectacular as Pastorini's, but still very, very expensive. And that's her 3rd blower explosion in 3 races. Now remember, this was earlier action. Shirley in the far lane, Dan Pastorini in the near lane. Pastorini is yet to achieve his first victory in NHRA championship competition. He's qualified for every race he's attended, but he's yet to get a win light. Pastorini in the near lane. The beautiful black car. As I said before, very few parts and pieces available in their trailer. Donnie Couch wrenches his car and pulled up a miracle to get it back. It was Pastorini off the mark first. Pastorini, whole shot at Shirley Muldowney. Few have done that. The electronic finish line judge calls it for Dan Pastorini.
Beautiful drive for Pastorini, his first victory, 573, a slow ET, but the victory was his.
And a surprising moment at the end of the racetrack. You'd have thought both drivers won. Pastorini so delighted with his effort, and Shirley Muldowney seemed genuinely happy for him. The two of them shared some great conversation at the other end. Shirley admitting she was late and congratulating Dan.
Well, you can be sure these two will meet again in years to come. The lady on the comeback trail and Pastorini on the verge of a whole new career in Top Fuel.
And Brock, as always, not an empty seat in the house here for the Gatornationals. An awful lot of interest in this race, especially surrounding the new Don Garlits Streamliner. Good news, Big Daddy has some more of those strange V-belts for the front wheels. His friends and neighbors are pitching in to fiberglass up the nose piece. He'll be back.